Welcome to Arkansas Wildlife. We've got a great show for you this week. We're going to be doing some fishing and also telling you about a special program for women in the outdoors in Arkansas. We're going to start off heading up to the White River, and we're going to do some trout fishing with Jenn Ballard, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission's wildlife health veterinarian, and her dad Jim, who's a guide on the White River. For many years, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission has been hosting a special workshop every September where we introduce women to the great outdoors. This week, we're going to tell you all about the Becoming an Outdoor Woman workshop. But first, an annual celebration every June in Arkansas is Free Fishing Weekend. We've got all the details right here. All that and this week's winner of an Arkansas hunting and fishing license right after this break. Arkansas Wildlife is brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less.
Y'all ready?
Early spring in the natural state, a time when cool mornings reluctantly yield to warm afternoons. Here on the White River near Mountain View, the dull tones of winter are being replaced by the Ozarks' more verdant hues. It's a perfect morning to set out with Arkansas Game and Fish Commission veterinarian Dr. Jenn Ballard and her father, Jim Martin, who guides out of Anglers Inn at Alison. Martin has been guiding anglers to White River trout for more than 30 years, and he didn't waste any time introducing one of his favorite clients to trout fishing.
How old was Jen when you introduced her to trout fishing in the White River? Oh, probably about 6. You describe her as, you know, there's a term among guides and hardcore fishermen as just being fishy. She's very fishy.
Jen's fishiness was in effect early with the day's first catch.
Nice one. All right, we're on the board. Well, Jen, at least you eat for lunch.
There we go.
Jenn displayed a keen interest in the outdoors from the beginning, joining her dad on many hunting and fishing trips. She also showed a bit of a competitive streak.
When she was about 6 or 7 years old, she could barely reel a rod in. I took her up to Wattensall to one of the fish tournaments that the Game and Fish put on, and she proceeded to win 2 trophies in that case, which won one for the most fish and the most fish by weight.
There was a picture in the local paper. The girl holding 2 trophies surrounded by boys each holding one, and that became a bit of a life mantra.
The budding angler didn't get a pass on the less desirable part of fishing.
Dad handed me a pocket knife and said, if you can catch them, you can clean them. And that was the last time I got to, actually, I guess the time before that was the last time I got to go fishing without having to clean my own fish.
Jen's passion for the outdoors started her down the path to her career when she was a freshman at Arkansas Tech University.
And the freshman advisor was asking me, you know, about the things I liked, and I started talking about, you know, how much I like to hunt and fish and just be outside. And she suggested, you know, maybe I should take some fish and wildlife classes, and I think she was just trying to give me a backup plan in case I didn't get into vet school, because I mean it can be a long shot. But I got in there and I fell in love, and I was like, wait, this is like a job? This is a thing? And then I was like, well, I'm not even gonna go to vet school. But then I graduated and I was like, yeah, I still kind of want to be a vet though. So I'm incredibly stubborn, so I decided I was just going to figure out a way to be both.
That stubbornness eventually led her to a degree in veterinary medicine from the University of Missouri, and later a PhD in veterinary and biomedical science from the University of Georgia. After working as a vet for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in Colorado for several years, Jenn came home to Arkansas in 2017 to become the Game and Fish Commission's first full-time wildlife health veterinarian. Working in the Commission's newly formed Research, Evaluation, and Compliance Division, she has traveled the state to educate Arkansans on chronic wasting disease in deer and elk, as well as embarking on numerous other programs and research projects to monitor the health and well-being of the state's fish and wildlife populations. But it's obvious she hasn't lost her touch when it comes to trout fishing. Jim has spent most of his life fishing the White River.
I took my first guide trip out when I was 18. I'm 66 now. And they'd call me up and I'd take a couple of days vacation and come up here and fish for a couple of days. Bring my tent and camp out. That way I kept my finger into it.
Despite living in North Little Rock, he used to make the 2.5-hour trip back and forth to the river to guide clients. He started guiding full-time about 10 years ago, a lifelong dream that was realized mainly out of necessity.
I got laid off when I was 57 and nobody wanted to hire a broken down concrete finisher. So I decided I'd do what I always wanted to do and came up here.
His knowledge of the white reaped benefits. We were on the fish early and often. Although she doesn't have as much free time to spend in the outdoors as she'd like, Jenn and her husband Michael are already grooming their young son Bo for the outdoors, keeping the family tradition strong.
But we've got Bo shooting a little bow that Dad made him, and we'll be back at it.
If he's anything like his mom, he'll probably soon be hauling in White River trout as well.
That's y'all's limit.
With our 2 limits, plus 3 bonus fish from our guide, we headed back to the dock. And, keeping with long-standing White River tradition, Jim treated us to a shore lunch, complete with fried trout, country potatoes, and hush puppies, all part of the Angler's Inn experience in this close-to-home getaway nestled among some of the Ozarks' prettiest scenery.
BOW is Becoming an Outdoors Woman. It is a nonprofit educational program that is for women 18 and older. And it's a weekend, it's all geared around being at least 1 weekend a year. And it runs from Friday to Sunday with 4 sessions. So you get 1 Friday afternoon, 2 Saturday, and 1 Sunday. And it's outdoor activities. It's to get women involved in outdoor activities.
It just goes around the tree, like so.
It's geared towards being what they call the 1/3 rule. So we like to do it 1/3 hunting, 1/3 fishing, and 1/3 non-consumptive. We found that non-consumptive is getting to be really popular, and so we try to add a few more classes every year, every couple years, try to add some additional ones and then see which ones aren't being as utilized throughout the last few years, and then kind of replace as we go, just to keep it going, because those non-consumptive ones, women love that type of stuff. They love getting out and learning. Those are kind of the easier things, the hiking, the camping, things like that. this was started for single women, and I think it's evolved since then. I think instead of just being that single mom out there, it's geared, getting to be where it's geared more towards women of every age, of every walk in life kind of thing. You're finding so many different age groups out there that are wanting to get involved.
Whether you're a city girl or a country girl or outdoors, it's for everybody. There's so many class options to take. You get your first, second, third, fourth choice, and then and whatever you can get into. So you're really not disappointed. Even if you don't get your first choice of class, you can still get into the second choice or third or fourth. And but anything you take will just, it'll build your confidence up in whatever field that you want to learn more about. Even if you think you're pretty efficient in that field, you can take it and you will definitely learn something that you probably didn't learn before.
I took beginners Dutch oven, like the basics. Then I took basic fishing, hiking and backpacking, and then advanced Dutch oven cooking. Of course, I loved all the food with the Dutch oven, but the basic fishing was by far my favorite. You know, I've gone fishing a couple of times, like with my husband, but he has baited my hook, tied every knot. He has always done all the yucky, fishy stuff. And yesterday, I learned 2 knots, baited my own hook twice, caught a catfish, cleaned a catfish, and filleted a catfish all by myself. I learned a lot, and it was taught by 2 men, and I loved that I didn't know a lot, and those men, like, they were patient and supportive, and they were not the least bit condescending. It was just great. It was a great experience. And there was a lot of bonding. Of course, there was a lot of women out there, and so it was a lot of knowledge, but it was just really easy and fun, and you got to be a little bit of a leader, but also be a big part of the team. So I liked both of those aspects.
I would say if all else fails, that it's just a great way to experience a lot of different things, and you don't have to go and invest a lot of money, you know, and go and buy all the fancy equipment, because, you know, they provide everything. You get to come and experience it, and maybe you decide you don't really like it, but you start a leg ahead just by doing these little sessions. Just really do give you a step up in the process, and give you kind of directions to look if you do want to do more research and learning. But you don't feel like you have to make a huge financial investment with all the equipment and all that if you realize that it's not your cup of tea.
You're not walking into this weekend necessarily by yourself. You're not the newbie all the time. You understand that walking into a weekend like this, everybody around you is taking these introductory classes. If you really enjoy hunting, but you've never tried fishing or something else, this gives you a chance to do that. If you have fished your whole life, but you've never been hunting before and you want to try hunting, it gives you a chance to do that. It has such a variety of classes to take that just because you might have been involved throughout your whole life in one particular thing like kayaking, there's so many other things that you can try to get involved in. So it gives you that variety where you can get that confidence in learning new things.
You can learn about the plants. You can learn how to go out just outdoors with your kids, because, you know, they're interested in what mom does, what dad does, and they don't know. We have too many video games, so you got to get your kids out there.
Just realizing that, you know, everything in nature is there for a reason, and we can either choose to embrace it or be afraid of it, and I want to embrace it.
Do it. Do it. Like I said, I had never even heard of this, and there are so many choices. It's just new and exciting and fun. Like, I learned so much from all of this, and there is something here for everybody. Somebody can find their outside here, whether they're trekking through the woods, whether they're catching a fish, whether they're shooting a shotgun. There is something here for everybody. It's so diverse, and I love that.
Here he is, my catfish.
More than 500,000 people buy Arkansas fishing licenses each year. But for one weekend in June,
Anybody can try fishing in the natural state without purchasing a license. It's Free Fishing Weekend, and it happens every year.
Free Fishing Weekend is really a chance for folks to get out and either try fishing for the first time, or maybe they hung up fishing a while ago, have memories as a child or whatever, and want to try again. This is basically a chance for folks to get a trial run, don't have to invest any money in a license, and get out there and give it a try. It always comes on the tail end of the National Boating and Fishing Weekend. All the rules and regs normal apply. You need to follow your limits, get your guide, make sure you know what your rules are, where you go, but no license, no trout stamps for any adult over 16 years of age. As always, anybody under 16 can fish anytime.
Finding a place to fish isn't hard. From big waters like Greer's Ferry Lake to small mountain creeks, natural state anglers have many choices. But during Free Fishing Weekend, anglers 12 and under can find excellent fishing at Game and Fish hatcheries.
So every year during Free Fishing Weekend on the Saturday, we host kids fishing derbies at our hatcheries around the state. We have 5 hatchery facilities, 4 warm water facilities that produce bass and crappie and catfish and things, and then 1 trout facility. And the trout is in Mammoth Springs, and the others are in Corning, Centerton, Hot Springs, and Lone Oak. And these events are for kids 12 and under, and you need to bring your own fishing gear, but we'll definitely have the fish, and folks catch some really great fish. It's a good time with the family. Fishing at a hatchery is always a great place to go. It's one to go fish, say, a freshly stocked pond or something, but these are the ponds where the fish are made, so it doesn't get any better than that. Free Fishing Weekend, we here consider as a game and fish event, but in reality, it's an official proclamation every year by the governor's office, so it's a fully official, state-sanctioned event.
People fish for many reasons. Some anglers are looking to fill a creel with fish for the dinner table. Others are looking for something less tangible, like good times with family and friends.
Free Fishing Weekend is all about going out and giving it a free trial run, but at $10.50, Arkansas has the second cheapest license in the country. And so, less than $1 a month, you can go out. If you go look at catfish fillets are about $6 to $7 a pound right now. You catch 1 or 2 fish and you've paid for that thing already. So, it's a heck of a bargain, and the memories and other things that go along with fishing and the time with family and friends is priceless.
Arkansas Wildlife presents the Watch and Win Giveaway. During each episode of Arkansas Wildlife, we'll give away an Arkansas resident hunting and fishing license. At the end of this season, we'll be giving away $500 worth of fishing gear with everything you need for outdoor adventures on Arkansas lakes and streams. It's all provided by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Visit the Arkansas Wildlife webpage at arkansaswildlife.com and click on the Watch and Win icon to enter. This week's winner is Michael Jones from Conway. Congratulations and thanks for watching.